Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Recording vocals live. Nah, I mean, so I don't like how that looks. hesitation. Don't you know that you find me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, I'm trying to angle this so, you know what I mean? So it makes sense here. But yeah, I'm recording a little bit of vocals, y'all. You can chill with me. It's probably going to be a lot of mistakes because that's just part of the vocal process. And I figured y'all ain't doing nothing, so you might as well kick it with your boy. If you want to support this channel, make sure you throw me a super chat. Go on TonySwayMusic.com, cop a couple beats. I appreciate the love, or at least you could like, share, and subscribe. You know the drill. This is your boy T Swizzy. All right, I'm gonna get to recording these vocals. When you look at it, let me try that. I mix my vocals as I record as well. Just another secret pro tip. Cause I let us see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you drag it out just like that, so bad. I let us see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. I love to see those tan lines. Just getting these vocals warmed up, y'all. There'll probably be a bit of distortion as you guys listen because I got multiple things going on the computer. So there's probably going to be some distortion when you hear what I'm doing. So I apologize. The demo actually sounds kind of clean. All right, let's do this. Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that. Damn, my nose hit the damn microphone, y'all. I hate when that happens. I might have to stand up, but let me try to sit down. Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. See how that sounds. Kind of clean. What y'all doing? Man, if you are artists watching this stream, you should be in the studio, right? Hopefully this inspires you to just write. And I'm always creating, man. Something about me is I'm always creating. It's just good to stay in creative mode, you know, and I got the view of the lake water here. So I'm constantly feeling inspiration regardless. So be creative. Let's stay creative, man. Forget AI taking over everything. Let's get back to human creation. You dig? Sounds pretty good. I'm going to do another take. I know I could do it better than that. Excuse me. Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. I love to see those tan lines when you're twerking it from the back, when you work it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. Yeah, let's see what that sounds like. Sounds pretty tight. I'm still gonna do it again though. Pretty tight, but let's go for one more take, another take here. Let me see. Oh shoot. So had to break out the beige leather suede jacket, you dig? You know what I mean? So let's get this recording knocked out. Wrote this one last night. It took me about 2 hours to write it. Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me, baby. Obviously, it's some sexy type joints. I like to make really sexy records because my parents raised me on Prince and Albie Shore and R. Kelly my aunt was playing R. Kelly, this kind of music was, definitely more of a sexy type vibe. So that's what I grew up loving. So that's what I write about for the most part, But yeah, so nobody's tuning in today.
One, say something. Show your boys some love. You dig? There's been a lot of people actually sending me super chats and things like that. So I do appreciate. That's really kind of y'all. I'm just a humble musician, just trying to find my way. You know what I mean? I appreciate the tiny victories along the way. And I'm bringing you guys into just a typical vocal session for me because as much as I like to produce, I am still a vocal artist at the end of the day. I still have songs that I like to write. So I guess that will never go. So but it's more of the grown and sexy, you know what I mean? I think some of that's missing from today's scene. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of what you need with this grown and sexy R&B. All right, I think we got one take that so far. That take worked, so I'm gonna double that. Secret to recording, y'all, is specifically on the hooks, is to do your doubles and pan those doubles out. That's a mixing pro tip for y'all. I mix, professional artists using those tricks. When you're doing your hook, double that hook, double that lead, and then pan that lead hard left, hard right. That's a mixing pro tip for y'all. It's not needed for every song, but most of the time when you're doing a hook, it's going to require a little bit more power. So you stack the vocal, right? You stack that vocal and then you pan that vocal just to give it that full stereo sound. It's not required for everything, but it works really well on people who sing. People who like to do harmonies works really well. Now, for some of the modern people, like the Drake type people, there's a lot of Drake copycats in the world. Let's just say that there might not be much vocal stacking that you need because they have all these different processing effects that they use on those kind of vocals where it just kind of they process it through hell and back, and there's not much you can listen. I can just listen to it because I have a decent ear. I can listen to some of those songs and I can tell you that there is a lot of vocal stacking. I was listening to more of Drake's new album today. He actually has like a New Jack Swing kind of song on there, which was I actually didn't hear that one, but it's called Stuck. But it's kind of like a New Jack Swing type of thing. But what I noticed in a lot of his singing vocals is he doesn't necessarily stack a lot of there's not a lot of stacking in his vocals. But what I do notice is a lot of processing to really make it. He wants his vocals to almost be louder than the beat. That's what I noticed. Like his vocals are kind of louder than the beat is, and that's kind of a difficult process when you're mixing because you got to find that balance between the beat and the vocal. But what I don't hear is I don't hear a bunch of stacking of one particular lead on his tracks. I hear ad libs in the background, like little vocal things that okay, like I hear like those little kind of vocals, hey, like that kind of stuff. But as far as like when he's singing, I don't hear actually a lot of stacking. He keeps it very simple. So that's his style. But I guess I do more of a traditional R&B style where I'm stacking harmonies and that kind of stuff. But whatever works. But if you do stack a lot of vocals, it helps to pan them. You know what I mean? Just pro tip for y'all. You dig? T Swizzy. What people, what are y'all doing on a Tuesday? I see a couple people tuning in, but y'all haven't said anything. You got to say what's up, man. Don't be shy. Yeah, don't be shy. This is your boy. Shoot your shot. All right, let's get it. Pop that knee. 40-year-old knees, y'all. That's what happens when you play sports all your life. My knees be popping because I played so much sports. You know what I mean? Got to stretch them out and stuff. All right.
To see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that.
Forgot to take my own advice. I need to go ahead and pan that vocal, right? Give it that full stereo vibe going. And here we go. And here we go. A little bit too soon. I like to get like 5 seconds before my part comes on.
Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me.
Let me do it again, right? All right. I'm going to do falsettos on this as well.
Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking it just for me.
Done messed up on the lyric. All right.
Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the.
When you work, come on, yeah.
Girl, I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I love to see those tan lines when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby.
So the song almost kind of has like a 112 kind of vibe. 112 made a lot of songs in this particular key.
In the shower, I'm soaking wet in the shower. In the shower, oh, my body's soaking wet in the shower.
So it definitely has that 112 kind of feel. So I might try to put some harmonies of that nature in there, not stealing from it, but something of that vibe, because it definitely it's in that 112 key for sure, as far as the octave range and all that. Now we're gonna put some falsettos on this. The falsettos can be rough sometimes, but it'll sound clean when I record it. But there might be like some gremlin sounds coming out of my vocals while I'm doing it, just to be real. But when the mix comes out, it smooths out the chorus. That's one thing about the falsetto is it tends to smooth out the overall lead. You dig?
Girl,
I don't use it as much, but
ooh,
I gotta turn up that vocal. I can't even hear myself.
I wanna see those tent lights. No, 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 no. Oh, no.
Let's get it. Let's get it. It's a little bit high, but let's see what we can do with it.
I wanna see those tent lights when you're waking it from the back, when you're tricking out just like that, so bad. I wanna see those tent lights when you're working it so sexy, when you're twerking out just for me.
I'm gonna have to warm up the falsetto. It's as I get older, it gets more difficult to hit those higher notes. Yeah, it's gonna definitely need harmonies on this for sure.
Cause if it isn't love, what I do. I wanna see.
See, voice done cracked right there, to be honest with you. Damn. Gotta warm it up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, oh, I wanna see those tail lights when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I wanna see those tail lights when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby. I wanna see those tail lights when you're working it from the back. You twerk it out just like that, so bad. I wanna see those tail lights when you're working it so sexy. You twerk it out just for me, baby.
It's very difficult to do those vocals, those falsettos in my age range, to be honest. It's getting more harder over the years to hit those kind of notes, man. That's why I produce more, because it takes a lot to get those kind of vocals to come out as your voice deepens as you age, you know. It sounds good when it's mixed though. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty clean, y'all. I like it. I like it. This is just the bare bones of the hook. I know it sounds rough on the webcam, video distorting and exploding and all that, you know, but I think y'all might, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna like this when I drop it, you know what I mean? So your boy's back in the lab, 40-year-old plus R&B, did you dig? No, but there's a lane for that early 40 R&B. Because why? Because what's missing right now from the R&B scene is there's not a lot of grown and sexy. And shout out to everybody dropping albums. This is no shout out. This is no like diss at all. But I would have to say that the majority of R&B coming out, um, yeah, it's very youth oriented, but there's not a lot of grown sounding stuff that you could turn on for somebody if you are like me and you're married, or you got a girl, or you're vice versa for the ladies. If you got yourself a fella or whatever, you know what I mean. um there isn't a lot of like grown and sexy stuff that they're dropping. And you know um the thing about the 90s is younger artists were actually the ones making music that sounded grown and sexy. So people like Al B and Key Sweat were dropping grown and sexy R&B when they were in their early 20s. Late Al B 19 Night and Day, I think, dropped when he was around that age or something. So they were doing grown and sexy at a very young age. But what I noticed about today's R&B is it's very kind of almost teen bop-ish. And there's a lane for that, right? There's a lane for that vibe. But I want to give more of a grown and sexy vibe, like maybe, and not to compare myself at all to the greats, but I wanted to feel like, the way that certain Prince records felt, where it's like, this is definitely mature. I want it to sound mature. I don't want to sound like I made it for high schoolers. You know what I mean? I want it to sound like it's literally for people that are of a more grown, mature audience. I don't want it to sound there's a place for youthful sounding music, but I'm at the age now where I don't really want to hear that. I'll study it, but when I listen to music, I'm throwing on that Sade, I'm throwing on that Janet Jackson, Come Back to Me, I'm throwing on that I'll Be Sure Who This Love Is. So I'm throwing on that sultry, soulful stuff that makes you unwind. And I just want to put out that kind of music, whether I'm producing or whether I'm recording as an artist. I just want to make sure those vibes continue to stay out there in the world, because it's definitely needed, because when everything sounds the same, you just can't grow. You know what I mean? If everything sounds like the same, there's no growth.
Light. Oh, oh.
So there's definitely going to be some harmonies in there. I need a drink of H2O, as Adam Sandler would say, to clear my throat. Pause.
Right, man. All right. Yeah. All right, Destiny. Come on.
Just playing.
Right on, man. Come on, dudes. Come on, dudes. Let's record, man. Yeah. Right on.
Yo, me and my bro Styles Major, we've been doing impersonations for years, man. I like to do impersonations. I got I'm crazy low key, just to be honest. So I can impersonate just about anything, yo. So sometimes I do so many impersonations, I forget who I am, So, but that's just what happens when you travel and you get acquainted with a lot of different people throughout the world, and you have a mixed background like I have, and so many different kind of family members and everything. So, yeah.
Right on, brother. We're about to record, man. Come on. Yeah. Let's do this. Come on.
Let's get it. Yeah. You did? Clear that throat. Yeah.
Stay, baby, won't you please stay? Baby, won't you just stay for a little while? Baby, won't you just stay? Baby, won't you just stay? Forget about yesterday, 'cause I want you so bad. My love is coming down, so baby, won't you stay?
That Jodeci. Just trying to get those frogs out the vocal cords. to an audience of one. That's bad, y'all. Come on, y'all gonna do me like that. I'm gonna shut this off. This is embarrassing. One person is watching. Well, thank you. Shout out to the one person watching. I appreciate you. But isn't it strange? I'll see like 200 plays on the playback, but then it'll say 1 or 2 people watching. So that's strange. No wonder people bought their their lives. But hey, I appreciate the few people. Shout out to y'all. Oh, metronome creeped up on there. I don't want that. That metronome.
I wanna see you.
That was kind of abrupt. Let me do that again.
Oh, I wanna see those headlights when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I wanna see those headlights when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby. I wanna see those headlights when you're working it from the back, when you twerk it out just like that, so bad. I wanna see those headlights when you're working it so sexy, when you twerk it out just for me, baby.
Definitely a couple funny notes in there, but sometimes you'll be surprised. You can sometimes keep some of the funny notes because it makes it sound, as long as it's not the lead vocal, you can keep some of it because I like stuff to be kind of human. So it's not, it can't be too jacked up, but if it's too perfect, it sounds robotic. So I like subtle inconsistencies in the vocal, you know, but of course it can't be like trash, you know what I mean? But it probably sounds crazy on the live. I ain't gonna lie. But if you all hear it, when you hear the record, you know I know what I'm doing because you'll hear it in the record. Well, I think I know what I'm doing. I might not know what I'm doing, honestly. I mean, it could be messing it up, but it sounds good in the headphones. So I'm gonna make sure this sounds good for y'all. For the 3 people watching, I appreciate y'all, and it would mean a lot to me if you could throw me a super chat. You dig? Throw your boy $1, $2. Hey, whatever you want to give. You know what I mean? I'm cool with it all. Let's see. Let's see here. So we're recording vocals live. I guess because I'm not talking about some kind of drama. A lot of people are not really. They're kind of like, never mind. Are people even interested in generally in music? Nobody really pays for it. Except, I mean, people pay for my music. Obviously, I get sales on a day-to-day basis most of the time. But in general, I do feel sorry for the traditional artists you guys are going to have to be more creative with how you make your money, because a stream doesn't pay a whole lot unless you're getting millions of streams. Now, luckily for me, I do get millions of streams. So, but even for those millions of streams, um, you know, you might get like an extra 10 grand in royalties, which is not really that much in retrospect, but it's still something. But if you're doing it, if you're getting that monthly, if you're getting that 10K monthly, then, then you got a decent career on your hand, and you can max that out, or you can scale it, as they would say. Once you figure out how to get to 10K as an artist every month, you can definitely scale up, because you can reinvest that money. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of these artists that you guys know and love and sometimes hate on, the reason they stay on the top is because they got the money for it. So they've earned the money, and now they take that money and they reinvest to stay hot. They pay off the playlisters, they pay radio DJs, they play podcasters, whatever. They do payola, and they stay hot because they got the money. That's why they say that the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. Because once you get the money, you can stay afloat if you know what you're doing and you make the right investments. It's very hard to knock. It's going to be very hard to knock people like Drake or Chris Brown down, because they simply got the money. They got the dinero to stay on top. So even if you don't appreciate what they're doing, they just have the money to reinvest to keep staying in the mainstream. And obviously they're household names. So that's just a little nugget of information for you guys. But a lot of times why independent artists don't blow up, even when they're dope, is because they just don't got the dinero to blow up their music. But I'm telling you right now, if you put 100 grand into promoting your music, you're going to get on the charts. You're going to get, if you put $100,000 into promoting your music, you're definitely going to get it on the charts. But the problem is most people don't got that kind of money, or they're not willing to invest that deeply. But because it could go left for sure. There was some guy who did it, and he who put his stuff on a billboard, and he used a work company card, and he got in trouble. But that's another story. I'm not saying do that, but you could definitely, YouTube offers promotion, Instagram offers legit promotion. You got playlister people like me that I offer promotion, and I got the track record to prove it. Right now on Spotify alone, I'm getting 2 to 3 million plays. Modest. That's modest, but most of you watching don't even get 100 plays. I'm getting 2 to 3 million, modest amount of plays for my music on Spotify. And I'm sure a lot of you would be happy if you had a song that went 1 million streams. You know what I mean? It's an accomplishment, so, but anyways, let me get back to recording. But people are don't want to do anything these days. They want instant gratification, man. I'm telling y'all, you got to put in the work, and you got to put your money into things too. That's the only way you're going to win. And I'm just saying it from a modest level, but most people watching haven't even achieved what I've achieved. I've been blessed to, in the last 13 years of doing this music, I've seen $1 million from my songs. Now, granted, that's spread out over a 13, 14-year period, but I've at least achieved it from music alone, nothing else, from selling beats, from royalties through my TuneCore, through Cookie Kawaii vibes, through Cookie Kawaii royalties, through royalties from the songs I did with my brother, and, songs like Climax. It just adds up. But it's definitely, I want to see a mill in a year, but I've been blessed to see it in I would say because I've been putting out music since 2010, really selling music consistently, 2009 to be honest. So what is that? That's longer than that. That's actually longer than that. That's 16 years. So yeah, but in the 16 years, I've definitely seen $1 million, because it adds up over time. And when I first started doing it, I was only making 5 to 10 grand in those first couple years, but it progressed as you go up. And then, you learn how to make a couple dollars. Before you know it, you figure out how to make, 70 to 90K from your music in a year. And then you're somewhere at least you're earning a living. So I can teach y'all how to do that. I might not be able to necessarily show you how to make a million yet, because I'm still, well, I've made a million spread out over the 15, 16 years, but from music alone. But I can definitely show you how to get to 50 to $100,000 if you take some of my just basic advice. I'm giving y'all free game. If you pay attention to my videos, I can definitely show you how to get 50,000 to 150,000 from your music, because that's what I've been able to do in 12-month periods, 12-month increments. So I can only give you what I know. I can't tell you how to make millions in a year, because it took me 16 years to make a million from my music. But I can definitely tell you how to make 50 to 150K or 50 to 140K in between those numbers, because I've been able to achieve modest success. Just I've been able to make this my career, right? And so it's just about being happy at the end of the day and doing something you love. And if it pays you and it puts food on the table and you got money saved, then you're blessed, man. And then you can always scale up. Like I'm on the process of trying to scale up with my music, but I can at least show you guys how to make at least 150K in a year from it. Because I've been, and I don't like talking numbers, but let's just say I've done it before. I've done the 100, actually, no, a little less, 140. I've done 140K in a year. Granted, taxes comes out and lawyer fees comes out. So that's a reality as well. But I can show y'all how to get there if you just take some of my advice and stop, just believe in what you're doing, but also put the money in, put the consistency in. And I'm willing to coach y'all. I can coach some of you guys who are serious, because some of y'all are not making anything off your music, and it's a damn shame. Like I know the hustle. I know how it is to work at a full-time job and hate your existence, where just life becomes painful because you're getting older and you're not following your passion. But when I was in my early 20s, I worked all these little jobs, because a job's a job. But for the rest of the day, when I'd get back home, I would just do music all day and try to figure out let me get this out there. Let me put this out on socials. Let me press these CDs. Let me produce these artists from worldwide, and link with artists in the studio, and going to LA and working with Albie Shore and Crazy Bone and, all the people that I've been able to link with. It's just a nonstop grind. And I've learned a lot over these last 16 years doing music. And I'm not going to, like, if I didn't accomplish anything, I wouldn't be able to say nothing to y'all. But again, there's not many people that can say they made $1 million from their music. And I just haven't done it in a 12-month period, where that's my main goal. I want to get it in a shorter period, but I've definitely seen that in a 16-year period. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I haven't done the exact math, but just a rough estimate off the top of my dome. It's basically about $1 million from music alone. Imagine getting $1 million from just your music and royalties. And it's an incredible feeling. And when you're making 50 to 100K from your music, you don't realize that it adds up. And before you know it, it's like, oh, damn, you ended up actually making $1 million in a 14, 15 year period without even realizing it. But then you look at your bank and you go, where's that million? Well, you spent it because life is expensive, But yeah, if you guys anybody wants to book a coaching with me, you can hit me up at tonysway1@gmail.com. I charge $100 for a coaching session, and I can definitely coach you guys, and I can give you the game on at least turning your passion into profit. I can at least show you how to make, at the very least, 1,000 to even up to 10K a month off your music, because that's what I've been able to do. I can only show you what I've been able to do, and just tell you everything I know, but you got to pay your boy, because everything's a hustle at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I got to turn my experience into hustle, because this economy is it's a rough world out there. So the game ain't to be sold, or the game ain't to be told, it's to be sold. You dig? that sounds really nice, actually. I think of some harmonies now for this. Yeah, that sounds clean. Loving it, loving it. Now let's see what I can figure out harmony wise. Sometimes you just gotta vibe and vibe. I'm not even sure if it needs the harmonies, but I'm gonna vibe to it. Damn, y'all quiet today. All this free game. I'm giving y'all free game. I don't care. I'll have a concert. That yeah. You ever seen like those performances where nobody shows up and that's me right now, y'all. Performing to an audience of one. One day there will be people watching these live streams, tens of thousands, and they shall donate. One day.
This tonight, ooh, when you took it out just like that, so bad. It's like I don't know what should I do for this part here. Let me think. Excuse me. Lines. When you took it out just like that, so bad. Lines. When you were getting ten lines. Took it out just like that, so bad. Ten lines. I don't know what that's gonna be like. Ten lines. Can I see us 10 lines? Maybe not that. Okay. Lines. 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 So let's see. I don't know where this is going, but I have an idea from the harmony, and I'm gonna stack, and y'all will see that it's not whack when I release the record. It might sound whack live because you're just hearing a random note, but I shall show you the way. Light, light, Ooh. Light.
Definitely like I'll be sure note.
Light.
Oh, that didn't sound right. Let me do it again. Try it again, y'all. An hour in. I've been talking too much though.
Light.
This is gonna be dope, I swear.
Light.
I need to take one of the headphones off. I can't hear myself. I hate when that happens.
Light. 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 Light.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Let's get it. So, laying down some falsetto. There's not a lot of modern day people that do falsetto. They don't usually use it as a main vocal like maybe like I'll Be Sure or Prince used to use it as a lead. It's very rare.
Light. Light.
Let's see where this is going.
Light. No, 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 no. Let me be your housekeeper, girl. Let me be your outfit for you. I will go and bring you. I will be your strength and still everything you need. I will visit no outside. I will be for you at all times. It's you. For you, I will. I will cross the ocean for you. I will go and bring you the moon.
Shout out to Monica. That's my favorite record by Monica. I really miss emotional music. There's something about the music from that era that just it's like tear jerkers. You know, I love music that makes you cry. Like the problem that I have with some of the music today is it doesn't make you feel anything. It's just kind of blank. I love music that makes you feel extreme. Like I love the extreme. You know what I mean? Whether it's very melancholy, very sad, or very upbeat and feel good vibe, make you want to fall in love vibe, or make you want to like just go hard on a jog or in the weight room vibe. I love any kind of extreme vibe in music. When it's too in between, it's difficult. Um, but it but yeah, that's just like that's what I love particularly. And even like a Sade, you could say, well, she didn't like some people might say, oh, well, hers is just kind of mellow, but no, it's the extreme mellow. Hers is extremely mellow. I like anything on the extreme. Um, to the extreme, I rock a mic like Vanilla Ice. to the extreme. I rock a mic like a vandal. Very white. I'm just playing. Y'all remember that Living Color with Jim Carrey, where he did Vanilla Ice? Yep, some of y'all probably don't know that, but that's a classic. Shout out to Jim Carrey. Man, I was 7 years old when that Ice Baby came out, to be honest with you. That's a long time ago.
Lines. 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 Lines.
Yeah, putting those little Michael Jackson harmony stacks in there.
Every day am I telling anyone I'm so proud to make you mine. And the radio's the only one. And then it's 80 up for mine. The girl is mine. Yes. Oh, the doggone is mine. I don't understand the way you feel, saying that she's yours, not mine. She wanna get it, oh, she wanna get it.
Woo! Hey. Woo!
Line.
Dope. Now I just gotta stack that vocal. Yiddy. Let's get it.
This is Kermit the Frog here, and
I'm just playing.
this is Sway, and tuning in with my boy Sway, and we're laying down a fat banger. Let's get it.
Just playing.
Line. Lines. 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 Line.
Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah. Yeah, just a nice little layer. Sounds cool. Just brings I might wait to the second half before the harmony. So I might do the harmony by the second half. So I might cut the first 2 harmonies. That way, a little bit of intensity builds into the chorus, so it's modulating, changing throughout the song. Little trick, pro tip, add little bits and pieces along the way to climax the record. I think we pretty much got the chorus. So I'm going to paste this, and then we're going to go into the verses and the pre-hooks and ad-libbing, right? So y'all going to hear this. I'm going to drop this tomorrow, man. Y'all ain't ready, man. You dig? I still got some heat. Well, I guess that would be for y'all to be a judge of, but I still got that fire, man. Grown. I'm on that grown and sexy move. I'm not trying to make R&B for people that are teenagers. Like, they can certainly listen to it, but I'm making, music, for 25 to 45, you know what I mean? Demographic, where like that grown, I don't need, it doesn't need to, I'm not trying to cater to super, super young people. Like, you got to be on that grown to listen to this. And that, I think some artists sometimes they want to just keep appealing to the youth as much as possible. And I think that's where you go wrong, is that there has to be a point where you mature musically into, where your age is. I'm not going to try to make music for 14-year-olds at 43. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I want to make music for people within at least a 10 to 15 year radius of my age. That makes more sense. But I'm not knocking anybody that does. Because get your money. But just for me to actually be into the music, it has to be something that I would want to listen to. I'm not going to be vibing to the same songs that kids are listening to. You know what I mean? That's just me, though. I can appreciate it, but I like that grown music. So. Woo! Yeah, that hook came out crazy. Y'all seen me lay down a full hook, and it probably sounds ridiculous over the live with all the distortion, and because I don't have this hooked up the right way, so there's definitely going to be distortion and vocal cracking. But through the Pro Tools system, it's literally perfect how I want it to sound. So now I'm going to go about and excuse me. I'm going to copy and paste this to the rest of the track. I wonder what engineers did back in the day when they got like a perfect take of the hook. I wonder if they pasted stuff. I'm pretty sure they had some kind of technique, but it must have been a lot more difficult back in the ADAT day, back in the ADAT days, because when I first used to record, y'all, because I am an OG now. when I was first recording it, we didn't have a digital setup. I had me and my homie Chris. We used to go to the studio, located a couple hours away from where I live, and we would record straight to ADAT. And so ADAT is basically tape. And I think the guy we were working with, his name was Tyrone. He had some kind of he did have some kind of Pro Tools, but it was a very early version. And the recording was going straight to ADAT tape. And it has a different sound to it. Tape has a completely different sound. So just some stuff that I experienced growing up, but yeah. And then from there, me and my boy Lewis, who I had multiple groups growing up, y'all, locally. Me and my boy Lewis actually went out and we started working with another local, and he taught me all about digital recording. So he had all the best digital plugins, everything that was out back in the early 2000s. And he showed me a lot about compressing and EQing and all the little tools and tricks of the trade. Obviously, I didn't learn everything, but I did pick up a lot. And I'm absolutely thankful for it, because I don't know where I would be without some of those tricks of the trade, to be honest. Just the basics, learning how to use compression to really make your vocals pop, but also not overdoing the compression, because overdoing compression can kill your vocals too. So what happened there? I think I may have clipped some of that on accident. So let's make sure that's in there. I'll find a way to get through. I'll find out living without you, 'cause you are my shame. What's good, A Major? I appreciate you. I'm laying down these vocals, man. Yes, sir. I only got a couple more months out here in the US. So, yeah, I mean, trying to put down these last vocals at the spot. And what's going on with you? Hope all is well with you. Yeah, I'm just laying these rough vocals. I got the chorus down so far. And now I'm pasting it. And then I'm going to cut the ad libs on there. And then I'm going to lay down some verse parts. And you can hear all the little mistakes and stuff. I know it's probably going to sound crazy on the live, because I do watch my playbacks because I want to see how I come across on screen, and sometimes I'd be acting a little crazy, so I gotta apologize to y'all. I'm kind of a comedian, and with all, my family and friends, I like to laugh a lot. So, but I'm gonna be doing some wild notes, and you're gonna hear some vocal gremlins and stuff. But with that, I'm gonna manage to get some clean takes here and there, and then I mix that down, and I'm gonna drop this record tomorrow. So it's just, yeah, on some kind of it's on some 112 type vibes. I put out the beat. It's on some 112 type vibes, sexy summer vibe type stuff. It's in that 112 key. I know 112 got a bunch of records in this particular key. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just lining up these, pasting these choruses on the beat, lining it up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So of course, it sounded pretty crispy. Appreciate that, man. I guess you guys can, yeah, you can kind of hear it from the headphones a little bit. I do apologize. I need to get more better at how people have their live streams like super prepared. I'm still getting used to how this all works, but yeah, but I'm just, I like you guys to just vibe out with me if you want to. And just, yeah, this is just my process. It's not too glamorous. The mic that I'm using, this is an MXL Genesis. I love this mic. It just has it comes with a little box, a little analog box to warm up the vocal, to it just gives that natural warmth when you record it. I personally like it a lot. So I highly recommend this mic, MXL Genesis. Wrote the record last night. I got two hooks on there now. Let me get this on the need to put the last hooks on. I appreciate that. I appreciate it, A Major. And man, I see what you're doing. I see the beats you be chopping up on Instagram. You got some crazy R&B heat on there, bro. you're like me in the sense that you're definitely keeping R&B alive. So I'm a fan of the beats at the end of the day, man. So keep inspiring with what you're doing as well. I appreciate you tuning in, locking in. I'm just trying to carry on the tradition of just making that, that 90s feeling kind of R&B music, but, with some of the newer synthesizers I have, just experimenting and trying to put that Ralph Tresvant, that Albie Shore, that, Key Sweat, Bobby, everybody that I listen to, Bobby Brown, John B. I'm trying to put all those influences, even the Bone Thugs, the Bone, Crazy Bone and Busy Bone really influenced me vocally as well. And that it's been a blessing to actually connect with Crazy Bone and have the couple records that I do, which is because he's one of my biggest vocal influences. Crazy Bone and Busy Bone they're insane when it comes to stacking vocals, man. They have some of the I know they're primarily hip hop, but they're so melodic in the way that they do their music. It's insane. Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm on this last hook now. All right, so I'm stacking this last hook, and then I'm gonna record the verses in the pre-hook and then ad libs. So that's kind of my process. Everybody, my process really is I tend to lay down the hook for first, because the hook gives me an idea of if the song's even worth recording. Because sometimes I'll start recording a hook and I'll be like, man, this is not. I won't feel it, and it lets me know if the hook turns out like really like how I like it to turn out. It lets me know I should keep going with it and keep recording more. And so that's kind of why I like to start the hook first, because if the chorus doesn't hit me, then I don't even want to bother with the rest of the song. So the chorus has to really, I'm a big chorus, hook, pre-hook chorus type of person. So, when your favorite songs are like Night and Day, I'll Be Sure, and New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain, and Janet Jackson, Come Back to Me. Those are the choruses on those songs really make the songs, the pre-hooks and the choruses really make those songs crazy. You know what I mean? Especially on Can You Stand the Rain. I would argue that the pre-hook is just important as the chorus on the Can You Stand the Rain. All right, but so far this doesn't sound too whack, man. Not too bad. Absolutely. I haven't made too many recordings in this key, to be honest. This is actually a nice key for my vocal range. I should make more records in this key, but a lot of my recordings, I will tend to do the same octaves because it's where my vocals are comfortable. But then you miss out on some of the other amazing keys that you can use for music. So I switched up the key for this particular record, just to try something different. It's in a different range than I'm used to, but still comfortable for my vocals, but just a little bit out of my comfort zone. So I think that last chorus, I'm going to have it repeat one more time just to give it more power. So that's what I'm doing right now, just stacking these choruses up. It does It doesn't always need it, but sometimes, a lot of the classic records, if you listen to the Can You Stand the Rains, the I'll Be Sure Night and Days, those kind of records, particularly the records that I personally grew up on, um, they do tend to have the chorus repeat more than once at the end because it kind of just gives it more power. And I don't always do it, but I think this song needs it, just to make more of a statement. And there's going to be some ad libs that I'm going to put on there vocally. And songs have to build intensity. I think that's one thing some of the younger artists could learn from the OG artists, is that songs need to be kind of like a movie where it builds intensity throughout the whole piece of music. And then when you get to the end, you need to finish it, right? So Can You Stand the Rain is a great example of a build. It comes in with the like the way, so it comes in with the perfect little intro. On a perfect day. It has all those, it's building as the song progresses. And then the Ralph Tresvant pre-hook, and then the main chorus. And then Johnny Gill. That was the way that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis produced that record. If you really think about it, was very, very smart how they put Johnny in the main verses, and then they smoothed it out. They eased it out with Ralph Tresvant's pre-hook. And when I was watching that movie, I believe that they were saying that's kind of where Johnny and Ralph kind of became more friends, because at first there was maybe a little bit of weird vibes because they kind of just threw Johnny in the New Edition group, right? So maybe there was a little tension in the beginning, but from the way that they put the movie together, they made it look like when they recorded Can You Stand the Rain, because Ralph and Johnny were the main vocals on that song. Of course, it had Ricky Bell as well, and they put everybody on the record, but the main parts for the majority of the harmonies were Ralph, and the majority of the leads were obviously Johnny. And so they're the ones who spent the most time recording. And from the way that they set up that movie that they had on BET, it looks like that's where they kind of became cool, is somewhere in the process of recording a record like that. Because it's one of those records where it's like, man, it took that teamwork to make it what it was. And Ralph respected Johnny, and Johnny respected Ralph, because Ralph added that sweet tone, and then Johnny did that, those baritone Luther Vandross notes to really bring that, that song's a pain, a very emotional record where you have to be able to get that pain out, and you needed like a Johnny Gill vocal to really, dig on that song. And then Ralph came through with those really heartfelt, 'cause I need somebody to stand by me when it's tough, like those really, the sweet heartfelt. And the Johnny has that baritone, you know what I mean? That's not possible. He has that baritone, just something I noticed. But yeah, Can You Stand the Rain? Shout out to my aunt Raisha, who she's the one who really told me about that record growing up. She told me to study that, and she was right, because I was very young when that came out, so I had to really go back into my aunt's record collection. And she said, Tony, you need to study that record, trust me. And I started listening to it again, when I was a teenager, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this record. And I was like, man, this is a great record. You know what I mean? So, and at the time when I grew up, they were usually playing more of the up tempos. So sometimes you didn't hear as much of the slow jams. When in the 88, 89, the radio still even though that there was slow jams, but sometimes they still played them, at later times. So I had to really go into my aunt's record collection and study that record. You know what I mean? But what they were playing mostly where I lived, because they didn't obviously have internet back in those times for people, you could just look up whatever record. They were playing, If It Isn't Love, and she got it going on, get going on. She got it going on. It was a third world heartbreak. They were playing those records the most. And the Can You Stand the Rain, you really had to buy the CD or tape to get the most out of the, playing it, unless you stay up really late or something, you know what I mean? And my mom was telling me to go to bed, so that kind of didn't work out. But shout out to Auntie Raisha for putting me onto that record. Interesting. So I might actually have to cut that. So maybe I'll cut all that. So maybe I won't repeat the chorus at the end because I'm running out of time on the record, which does happen, unfortunately, sometimes. And it's 4 minutes, this record, but I still run out of time. I swear I need like 4 minutes, 30 seconds most of the time when I make music. But sometimes you got to handle it in 4 minutes with these short attention spans. All right, now let's to the verses here. Let's see here. Yo, bass. I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. All right, let's get it. My knees are in pain, y'all. I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush, your body's ecstasy. I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Trying not to curse in this song. Sexy lyrics, but I'm trying not to have any curse words. Yeah. I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush, your body's ecstasy. I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Oh, baby. Then a pre-hook's gonna come in. Let's see. forgot how I sang. I wrote this last night when I was tired. Ooh, the S. Sometimes the S's come out weird when you record, so you got to do it again.
I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Oh baby, I love the way you take it off when we intimate. So wet and soft all those times.
Oh man. Forgot how I did it. So let me see here.
I love I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush. And you
Appreciate the love, fam. Trying to get it, man.
I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Oh baby.
And then between the pre-hook, take a little pause so I can. So I'm trying to get a feel for that. I'm trying. There's a part that almost sounds better if I put a swear word on, but I don't want to do it though. So let me see. Let's see here. I think I tapped my foot or did something silly. Got to do that again. Let's go. Let's go.
I like the way you rock those purple panties in the sun. And when you take it off your body every time we crush. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Oh baby.
All right, let's see what that's like. That sounds pretty cool. I'll roll with that. Roll the tape. Roll.
Lady, I will cry for you.
Oh, I messed that note up.
Cry for you tonight. Tonight, lady, I will cry for you tonight. Tonight.
So it's in that octave. It's in the cry for you octave. So a little secret about R&B records, y'all. If you want to make a good R&B record, put it in the key of great R&B records. So there's certain R&B records where they use certain keys over and over again because they just tend to have a certain feeling in them. So this particular key is a key that 112 used a lot. It is a key that Devante tended to produce a lot of Jodeci songs in, for instance, To Cry For You. It's just a great key for R&B vocals and chords. Yes, sir.
We'll cry for you tonight.
Sounds better in the microphone. Because I got all the effects on and stuff. I think I'm like KC or something. Or JoJo. JoJo does more of the falsetto, so maybe JoJo. But I'm trying to do like, that's my budget. That's my Walmart version of JoJo, y'all. I got knee pain. Man, being an athlete, I wish I would have just done music my whole life. I didn't start doing music until I was really around 13. But I played so much sports during the years. I really beat up my legs, man, playing basketball, football. It comes back to haunt you in your older ages.
I like the way you take it off. I like the way I said, I like the way you take it off. When you get to me.
Trying to figure out how to sing this second part. I wrote it at night and I had the perfect melody, but I done forgot that melody. So now I'm gonna have to kind of just wing it. Wing it. Unity. Shout out to Charlie Murphy, Rick James.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I love the way.
Oh, I need it. The vocals are not at the same level. Gotta put them vocals in.
Do you love me, Mary Jane? Don't you play no games?
Who knew what he was talking about in that song? I just like the record. I don't do any of that. No drugs for me, y'all. Nope. But I do love that record. So shout out to Rick James. Rick James was a legend, man. I'm still waiting for his biopic or whatever they call those things. That's long overdue. They need to drop that. You know that movie is going to be amazing. I guess they just got to find the right person to play it. But Rick James was a wild dude, man, but a genius at the same time. So you know that's going to be incredible.
I like the way you take it up, get into me, so girl, I like the way.
Man, I really need to figure out what to do for that. This is probably going to be a harmonized, the pre-hook. Come on, pro.
I love the way you take it on. I love the way you give it a song. I love the way you get into me. Those sexy tan lines. Oh, baby.
So let me see how I do that right there. So I'm going to cut that very last part because chorus actually drops there. Yeah. Come on, guys. So let's see. Tight. For some reason, the way that sounds, I don't know why, but it reminds me of this Tevin Campbell.
Come back to the world. Come back to the world.
Y'all remember that Tevin Campbell? It wasn't as big as the Can We Talk, but
come back to the world. Come back to the world. Yeah. All those strange relationships really gets me down. I see nothing wrong with spinning myself around. Everybody's talking all this stuff about me. No.
let's see here. Maybe like that, I guess.
I love the way. I love the way.
I'm just gonna put some little high ad-libs. My voice about to crack, y'all, 10 times over, but let's get it anyways. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it as long as it gets the job done. those higher notes are getting harder and harder to hit over the years. But man, those falsettos, they need it though. It's needed in the record. All right.
I love the way. I love the way. I love the way.
So that should work. Sounds crazy on the live, but it sounds good in the headphones.
Na 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 na.
Oops. So just real simple stacking techniques, a very kind of ghost melody in a way.
I love the way.
Got a squeal for that one to come out. Let's do this.
I love the way. I love the way. I love the way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Ursher. Swirsher. Swirsher. All right, I think they got the first verse and pre-hook laid. Now I just got to clean up the little in-betweens. I don't want no random. I don't want too much ambient random things happening in the background. So pro tip when you're all doing vocals, because sometimes I get sessions from people and man, they're stepping on things. You can hear their dog in the background, baby mama screaming in the background. You got kids, you got people slamming things on the floor. You got doors slamming, babies crying, all in the background of a record that I'm trying to mix. And I'm like, the least y'all could have done is just like chop some of that background noise out. So I do that for my records. That way there's not too much random stuff. Now, on occasion, it can work to leave random ambient stuff in the background. But for the most part, you don't want too much crazy stuff to be happening. You know what I mean? Because it can get pretty annoying when there's a baby crying in the background or a dog barking in the middle of your platinum R&B mix. You're trying to make a classic record, and then you got Fido the dog in the background singing a symphony of his own. So got to cut out these, got to cut out these randoms. Luckily, I live on the 7th floor, so I don't hear too much of what's going on down there. Obviously, there's a road down there. Somewhere down there, there's a road. But the higher up you are, the less you hear of it. So that's kind of a blessing, Yeah. So the 7th floor is pretty nice. I'm not a big fan of crazy heights, but this is the 7th floor. To be honest, it's kind of nice. It's not too high and not too low. It's a good mix. But I'm a big fan of like penthouse style places, but some of those places are some of these penthouses be like 30, 40 flights in the air. And I'm like, that's a little bit too crazy for me. That's like nosebleed type stuff. But I don't know. Maybe if it's nice enough, I'll never say never. But I like to be somewhere in between that. Especially like when emergencies happen, sometimes you got to use the staircase and whatnot. So you don't want to be on that 40th floor if something goes down, because that's a hell of a workout. So far, so good. See, about 2 hours into the recording. Obviously, I did talk a lot, but almost done here. All right, so this. Might take out the beat for a millisecond right here. Let's see. Let's see what it sounds like to just take it out. Take it out. Those little beat drops, those little sizzles. Come back to the world. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I just like the drop out, and when it comes back in, it's kind of slick. Kind of dig it. I'm kind of digging it. So y'all see what I'm talking. Just little simple techniques. Kind of more of a hip hop technique, to be honest, but sometimes it works on R&B records though. So why not? Less is more sometimes, Ooh, that. So now we're on to verse 2. Verse 2. No, I do. Can't state. I chill with the Voltron crew. I make a few ends on the side. Who comes the big blue van? Time to ride. Now I hops in the van with the T, the baby pop right then. That was my click. We groove into Santa Ana and we chill, making hell 5 money. I'm like, hell yeah. And what I did for extra freeze is brothers off the work playing Get Like Me. I was 13 years old, having a sack. Just a young little player having value packs, shooting dice from the halls of the public school. And I used to gang bang, but now it's a G thing. And I still know how to make those zings. You don't believe me? Go ask the twins. It's kind of easy when you listen to the G'd up sound. Pie in your speakers bumping as a smoke on the pound. I got the sound for your ass, and it's easy to see that this DJ be Tony Sweet. I'm just playing, y'all. I remember memorizing that record when I grew up. Warren G, one of my favorite artists from that era. He has some of the most dopest G-funk tracks. Somewhat underrated, to be honest, because he's such a mellow, laid-back person. He wasn't with that riff-raff. He was kind of more of a laid-back character. But he has some absolute gems from that era. You like the... Let's get it.
You like it when I pull those purple panties to the side, and when I flip your body over, cause you're down to ride. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines.
All right, let's I think I'm angled at the mic. Let me try to do this properly.
You like...
Oh yeah, that's a big difference. Sometimes if you're not positioned right on the mic, it can sound different. Kind of shocked me, to be honest.
You like it when I pull those purple panties to the side, and when I flip your body over, cause you're down to ride. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines.
Do it one more time again.
You like it when I pull those purple panties to the side, and when I flip your body over, cause you're down to ride. Your body's ecstasy, I love to see you next to me, those sexy tan lines. Oh baby, baby.
Ooh.
I love the way.
Ooh. Kind of cool, y'all. I'm kind of feeling that. Kind of feeling that. All right. Let's go.
I love the way that you take it on. I love the way you get when it's on. Girl, I love the way you get into me. Those sexy tan lines. Oh, baby. My baby.
Let's get it.
I love the way. I love the way.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Get it.
I love the way that you take it on. I love the way you give it a song. Girl, I love the way you get into me. Those sexy tan lines. Oh, baby.
Yeah, let's see what that's about. Yeah, man. Recorded a whole song on live. How many people can? Well, I'm probably not the only person, obviously, but how many people can say they recorded full songs live on YouTube? This song could blow up and go to the moon. It could go #1, and it's right here live. I'm recording it live for y'all. So if anybody tries to steal it, I have the live copyright right here on YouTube, live in action. So yeah, you dig? So if y'all just tuning in, this is, or if you watch this on the playback, you'll basically see me. I'm laying down a whole song. So if you support and you like what I do, feel free to drop a super chat and support this channel's growth and to going to the next level, because it takes money to make money, you dig? So I appreciate everybody that's donated so far. I think I've got around $100 in super chats in the last 2 months, which is cool, man, because I do appreciate it. It's not a lot of money, but I appreciate it's the thought that counts. You know what I mean? I truly mean that. Dope. Bass. Bass.
If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have turned you out. And if I didn't care, you know without a doubt.
So shout out to all my vocal influences. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Shout out to Al B. Shore. Shout out to Prince. Shout out to Ralph Tresvant. Shout out to John Busy. Shout out to Bone Thugs, specifically Crazy Bone and Busy Bone. Shout out to Miss Mariah Carey, even though I can never really do her voice, but it's still influenced me. So shout out to all my vocal influences, and shout out to my harmony influences. Definitely Michael Jackson. I feel like I've studied, not mastered, but I've studied his harmonies and what makes them beautiful. And it's really helped me out. And obviously Al B kind of carried on in that Michael Jackson tradition. So the Al B harmonies as well, you know what I mean? The Boyz II Men harmonies as well, you know.
Call my baby on the phone, just a minute to feel alone. I call my baby on the phone, just a minute that you feel alone. Does she ever feel alone? The time my heart. These are the times we all wish for, and nothing is in it so much more. What should you do a thing at all?
Yeah, I think I got that. So ooh, right there, I think. Yes. I love these little drops in the records. It just brings it out. It gives it a hip hop feel, even though it's R&B. Just does something to it. I don't always use these either. It's just for some reason this record felt like it needed it because I don't know what it is. It just felt like it needed it. But you will see when I upload tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. So we're almost done here now. I'm gonna stack these ad libs. It's not too much of a dramatic song. It's kind of just a flowy type of record, you know, that type of ish. Flowy. Here we go. I done popped my knees like 11 times.
Oh yeah, when you talk it out just like that. Oh babe, so sexy for me. for me. Maybe you know I like to see you sexy.
All right, that's pretty whack, so I gotta do that again. Just trying to find what's the right notes for the ad libs on this.
Where you working at? So bad. Oh, baby. When you're twerking it just for me. When you mean, I love to see those tan lines. Oh,
No, that's not it. Gotta keep searching. So that's pretty much it. I'm just finishing up these ad libs, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out this stream. That's pretty so that's a long running time. We're on 2 hours and 19 minutes. So I let you guys see enough. If you appreciate this kind of content, make sure you like and share and subscribe at the least, or drop your boys super chat, even if it's just $1. Whatever you can do, I truly appreciate it. All right, God bless y'all. Peace.